So I would love to welcome you all to yet another insightful session of Wellness Wednesday. So, you might have heard the topic, right? But how many of you guys actually read the labels? And this is something we will uncode with Dr. Kiran here. So, let me introduce you to Dr. Kiran. Dr. Kiran Kukreja is a certified dietitian and, sorry, Dr. Kiran is a certified dietitian and lifestyle coach. With over 5 years of experience, she empowers individuals worldwide to lose weight, reverse illnesses, and improve their overall well being through straightforward adjustments to their diet and lifestyle. With a following of over 240K on Instagram, she shares invaluable health tips and delicious recipes, making healthy lifestyle accessible and enjoyable for her dedicated community. Before we start the session, I think Dr. Kiran would like to ask a question to all of you. So, we have a poll which will come on your screen right now. You can select your option from yes and no and let us know about the answers. Okay, we're getting a fair number of answers. Let's wait for another minute. Awesome. I'm really excited and looking forward to the session, looking at all the enthusiasm. So, Dr. Kiran, you've got 62% yes and 33% no.
Okay. 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 So thank you for the brief introduction. Okay. So as you have all aware that how to read labels is a topic, right? So first I have asked this poll to understand ke, how is your behavior, like how frequently do you consume the packet food, right? So 60% of you have told that you have already consumed one of the packet food since morning, right? So, first of all, let's start with the PPT. So, can you help me with the showing the PPT?
Yes, of course. So, guys, Dr. Kiran has prepared a PPT for us, which she'll take us through and help you decode all the cryptic monsters hidden behind your food labels. So, hold on tight till the PDF and the PPT appears on your screen. Over to you, Dr. Kiran.
So, as the title suggests, how to read labels. Okay, so first of all, let's understand ke, what is the packet food. So, packet food is like is a day-to-day consumption like the biscuits, chips, and chocolates. Okay, but before consumption, it is highly necessary to understand what is actually there inside that product, because most of the times we generally see only the front packaging as in, like for example, real juice, whole wheat bread. We only see the titles, we don't go to the back and see the labels and see the ingredients, right? So because of that reason, it is highly necessary to check the ingredients and label as well, because it is a part of our daily consumption. As we are consuming these products on the daily basis, so it is highly important for us to understand the ingredients of the food products that we are consuming on the daily basis, right? So because of that reason, so there are certain hidden things in the package, and there are certain marketing gimmicks, so which we are not aware of. Okay, so in this session we will be covering up all the things and how to read the labels, how to make sure that you are buying the correct product. Okay, so let's begin. Yes, next slide, please. Yes. So firstly, why reading labels are so much of confusing. So okay, so why we get confused like which is a healthy one and which is are not healthy. Okay, so because of one reason that the brands wants to make the profit, and they will be able to make the profit by using the cheapest food products. Okay, like for example, if I compare the oil, if they are using a healthy cold pressed oil, so that is a healthy one, so that will be much expensive as compared to the palm oil, right? So palm oil is very cheaper oil. Okay, so because of that reason, just to find a middle way, so that consumers also think that it is a healthy product, and also they are not losing their profits, because if the product is much expensive, so consumer will not be able to buy that. Okay, so because of that reason, to find the middle way, so the brands do these tricks, like to just to make sure, like for example, they will just mention that it is the oats cookies, but the content of the oats will be very less. The content of oats will be only maybe 2.2% or maybe 5%, but the 90% of it will be all refined products. Okay, but we only see the front packaging of that. Okay, so because of that reason, just so that the brand uses the trigger words, like for example, real fruit, made with home real honey, made with the organic food products. So these are all the trigger points, and just to make sure that they are getting maximum profits out of their product, so they use these trigger words. Okay, so yes. Next slide, please. Yes. So today we will be seeing like seven most misleading food claims. Like if they are saying no sugar, so what is actually added instead of sugar? But if we are eating any sugar-free product, so that will definitely taste sweet, right? So what they are adding as a replacement of sugar, so that we will understand. Like if they are claiming that it has zero cholesterol, so what they actually mean. Okay, so we will be uncovering these food claims. So if it is mentioning anything on the front packaging, so that is considered as a claims, and how it is misleading the consumers. Okay, so we'll be seeing that. Yes, next slide, please. Yes. So first claim is the very interesting one. So it says sugar free. So we have seen many products out there, like almost everything is nowadays sugar free. Like if you will find any cake shop, so cake will say it is sugar free. And if you find any pastries, chocolates, even diet coke, so there are many examples, and there are many things, like even candies are nowadays sugar free. Okay, but they even taste sweet. Okay, so what is added instead of sugar, because of that they are tasting sweet. Okay, so instead of sugar, brands generally add artificial sweeteners. Okay, so artificial sweeteners are used as a replacement of sugar. Definitely it has less calories as compared to sugar, but that doesn't mean it is healthy, right? Because nowadays it is so most of the researches are confirming that most of the artificial sweeteners are even harmful for our health, for our neurological health. So one of the commonly used artificial sweetener, which is aspartame, which is used in the diet coke. Aspartame is it is in the analysis of WHO, it is recommended that it should not be used, because it is a kind of carcinogen. Carcinogen means it can cause cancer as well. It is that harmful for our health. Okay, so aspartame is added in the diet coke and the center fresh and all the candies as well, just to make that products little bit sweeter. Okay, even it has very low calories, and even if it has zero calories, but it still has harmful effects on our internal health. We generally see health as a weight loss, just to maintain the weight. We just only see calories, even if it is a zero calorie food, or even if it is there is no calories of that particular sugar content, that doesn't mean it is healthy for our health, right? Because most of the artificial sweeteners are also not healthy. Like one of the example I gave you of aspartame, right? It has severe damages on the neurological health. It can even cause alzheimer's. Okay, so that is the harmful things it does to our health, and we blindly consume these products on the daily basis. If we are consuming on the, like if we are consuming limitless, so that will impact definitely on our health, right? And even as per FDA, it is FDA guidelines. So FDA means Food and Drug Administration. So as per those guidelines, if a product is mentioning that it is sugar free, it still contains zero point 0.5 grams of sugar. And also, apart from this, just to make sure that the product it is tastier to the consumer, so they add different kind of products. Like for example, if you are adding more butter to your recipe, so it will be tastier. Okay, so just to compensate the taste of sugar, so they add more of the fat content. Okay, so it is highly essential. So instead of looking just one particular thing, we have to look at the brief, like what is the overall picture of that particular product. Is it so in, just for the compensating, sure, have they added more of the fat, have they added more of the butter? Like for example, if I give you a cookie, okay, so just to compensate the taste of sugar, so they generally add more of the butter, which is a kind of saturated fat. Saturated fat is again not good for our heart health. It increases cholesterol in our body and the LDL cholesterol as well. Okay, so yes, next slide please. Yes. So here I give the example of Diet Coke. Okay, so it contains aspartame, and how WHO mentions that it is a carcinogen. Carcinogen means it can cause cancer. Okay, and most of the, so as we are doing this session, and most of the consumer are also getting aware that aspartame and the artificial sweets are also not healthy. So brands do another thing which just to trick us. Okay, so they do not mention the word aspartame on their ingredient list. So they will just mention E951, okay, which is a code for aspartame. Okay, so we have to look for these codes as well, like what does this actually mean, and how they are misleading us, how they are hiding few things from us. Okay, like in the same case, like sugar free center fresh and sugar free happy dent also have aspartame. So any sugar free product you are consuming, make sure and to check like what kind of artificial sugar it has. Okay, and now, like if anyone says like if I'm getting sweet cravings, so what should I have instead of these product? I cannot have sugar, I cannot have artificial sweeteners as well. So what is the healthier sweetener? Okay, so healthier sweetener I always which I recommend to my clients as well, so that is the dates and the natural sweetness fruits. Like you can have apple, you can have mango, you can have bananas. Okay, so that is much healthier because that has natural sugar which is called fructose. Okay, so that is digested in a different way in our body as compared to the refined sugar. Okay, so refined sugar is actually harmful for our health, and it is a zero calorie food. Zero calorie food means it does not contain any nutrients in it. Okay, it only contains calories. Like for example, one spoon of sugar has 20 calories. So 20 calories is a kilocalories, right? So that has calories, right? But it does not contain any nutrients with it. Okay, like in the same way, like if I compare with the apple, so half apple has around 45 to 50 calories. So with that calories, it is containing lot of antioxidant, lot of vitamins and minerals. Okay, so that has nutritive calories, but sugar has zero calories. Means when it is digested, it will definitely spike up your insulin, and it will give you no benefit to your health, right? So yes, we'll look for the next example of zero sugar. Yes, next slide please. Yes. So the second example here is sugar-free Amul dark chocolate. Okay, so here if anyone is saying that sugar is harmful and it is sugar-free, so I can consume that. Okay, and even people consume whole chocolate considering that it is healthy. Okay, but it actually contains maltitol, which is again artificial sweetener. Okay, and also if you can check its ingredients. So ingredients, if you are checking anytime, make sure that you are checking first 3 to 4 ingredients. First 3 to 4 ingredient denotes the maximum quantity of that particular product, and the maximum contains is the for maltitol. If you can just see the slide, and if you can just see it in a little bit zoom. So first ingredient is maltitol. Okay, so even more than cacao, it is maltitol. So you can just imagine how much lot of artificial sweetener they have added. Okay, because artificial sweetener is not as sweet as sugar. Okay, so the brands will have to add more of the artificial sweetener just to make it as a similar taste of sugar. Okay, so because of that reason, the quantity is more of artificial sweeteners, okay, as compared to even their main ingredient, which is the cacao. So chocolates are made of cacao, right? So even more than cacao, they have added more of maltitol. Okay, so if it is a first ingredient denotes that it is maximum in that particular. So maximum of that particular ingredient is the highest of quantity. Okay, and the next is second ingredient is the cacao. Okay, which means this is not the ideal product and ideal product that you should be choosing from, right? Yes, so we'll go with the third example.
Wow, up until now, I really thought that sugar-free chocolates and dark chocolates are healthy, but okay.
Yes,
I'm taken aback.
exactly. Yes, so there are a lot of recipes as well, like which you can look out like on the YouTube, which you can make it at home with the cacao powder, and you can even like use dates as a natural sweetener.
So, Dr. Kiran, since we're talking about sugar,
Hmm.
um, so you said we can actually make chocolates at home using
Yes.
cacao. So, what is your take on using the actual sugar granules that we use on everyday basis at our own houses when we make tea,
Hmm.
when we make any sweet at home? We use the granulated sugar. So, what is your take on that?
So that sugar is the refined sugar. Okay, so refined sugar, we never recommend the refined sugar because that is processed sugar. Processed sugar means there are certain chemicals which has been along with that chemicals it is has been processed. Okay, so that is the processed sugar. Okay, so instead of that, what you can do is, so if you want to have something like shake, okay, so if you want to add little bit of sugar into it, okay, so what you can do, so you can grind the dry dates, okay, and you can make it powder, okay, because dry dates are sweeter, okay,
Right,
and you can add just 1 spoon of dry dates powder. Okay, it is highly nutritious and it has lots of nutrition, like it has rich in amount of iron and the lots of micro minerals. Okay, so you're getting lots of nutrients along with that. Okay, so you can easily add just 1 spoon of dates powder, okay, which is a, you can just grind the dry dates and you can just de-seed them, okay, and you can just grind it and you can use that. Okay, or if you want to add something like with your tea, so you can add just half spoon of like jaggery powder. Okay,
okay,
because jaggery powder is not a like a zero calorie food. Okay, so jaggery has certain nutrients into it. Okay, it is not empty calories. Okay, empty calories means without any nutrition. Okay,
right.
so
Okay.
in moderation, jaggery powder is still okay, or for another usages like even in the shakes, or if you want to add into the juices as well, so you can use the dates powder.
Got it. Got
Okay, so here the third example is the sugar-free cookies. Okay, sugar-free cookies, again it has maltitol and sucralose. Okay, and for your knowledge, it says that it is oatmeal cookies. Okay, oatmeal cookies. By reading that, we think that it is 100% oats, right? But it actually contains only 8% of oats. Rest of it's like other ingredients. Okay, only 8% of its oats, and they are mentioning that it is oatmeal cookies. Okay, and it also contains artificial sweeteners like maltitol and sucralose. Okay, so definitely this is also like not a healthy choice for cookies.
it. Right.
Okay? So yes, next we'll go with the second claim, which says whole grain. Whole grain, again, it is a very interesting. Like we see the multigrain things, we see the oats cookies as we see in the previous slide, right? And also there are like the whole grain bread. So with that, we think that this particular product contains only that particular whole grain. But that is not actually the case. What companies do is they actually add very little proportion of that particular whole grain, and they will tell on the front packaging, because most of the consumers will see only the front packaging, right? So on the front packaging, they will just mention that the oats cookies or oats biscuits, okay, and even the chips nowadays there's multi-grain, right? So with that, we so there are definitely some brands who actually use that multigrain, but for that we need the confirmation by seeing its ingredient list. Okay, if the ingredients list mention that it contains refined wheat flour. Refined wheat flour means maida. Okay, maida is totally different than the wheat flour. Okay, because it contains no fiber in it. Okay, so the naan which we eat, so that is made of the refined flour, right?
Right.
Because the so that refined flour is actually not good for our intestines. Okay, it takes very long time to digest, and it does not contain any fiber in it. Okay, and it is also like it is equal to the sugar as well, like it quickly spike up the insulin, and it is again empty calories, which means it does not contain any nutrients, right? So there are three main things which is very harmful, which we should always look for. One is the maida, which is a refined wheat flour. Second is the sugar, and third is the palm oil. Okay, so these three ingredients are the like baddest of all. Okay, which means it is totally not good for our health. Okay, so whole grain, again there are certain examples which I have covered. Okay, so let's see those examples. Yes. So the first and the second example is like the Marie Light oats biscuit, and here is McVitie's whole wheat biscuits. Okay, but when you see its ingredient, it contains only 1.4% of oats, and it contains 63.1% of maida. Okay, which means if it is mentioning that it is oats biscuit, that does not mean it is completely made of oats.
Right.
Okay, and certain brands like they mention their ingredients in a very little size that consumers are not able to read it. Okay, so you can just go onto the website and you can just check it. And there are, like, if you can check on the Amazon as well, like there are certain brands who actually use the high quality like ingredients, right? So they use the multigrain and they use the whole wheat as well, but for that we need to be get aware like what is the authentic product and which product actually contains the whole grains. Okay, so like this is Mari whole wheat. Okay, so again it has 66.5% of maida. Okay, which means the whole wheat content is very less and the maida content is very high. Okay, so whenever you are buying any biscuit, so make sure you check its ingredients, and you can also check its, like, it should not contain trans fat as well. So we'll cover that in the later slides as well. Okay, but with the biscuits, so whenever you are seeing any whole grain food, like even, so in the next slide, we'll be seeing the bread example. Okay, so yes, can you please do the next slide?
Dr.
Yes.
Kiran, this
Yes.
actually brings me down to this whole new launch of oats Maggie that Nestle recently, sometime back, actually launched. Actually, guys, who all is a Maggie lover over here and who has actually tried oats Maggie? You can just put your answers in the comments to let us know that is someone actually Maggie lover like me? So, Dr. Kiran, what is your take on oats Maggie then? Because now that I'm recalling, looking at the ingredients list over there, I'm
Yeah.
sure there might be a disparity in terms of the amount of refined flour, maida that they use in making their usual Maggie packets and again their oats variant that they've launched.
Yeah. So yes, again with the Maggie as well. So they like include very certain amount of oats, and they mention it as a oats Maggie. I have put it one example of spinach Maggie as well. Okay, so they have like on their whole packaging, it is whole green, and it mentions, so green represents the healthy, right? So their whole packaging is like green, and it is all spinach everywhere. Okay, but when you check its ingredients, it only contains 1.2% of spinach. That's it. Okay, so in the same way, if it is saying like
Right.
oats Maggie or spinach Maggie or any other superfood, okay, but you should always check. And there is also one, when I was doing researching, so there was also one herbs Maggie kind of thing, but the herb like the ashwagandha and everything, okay, but that content is also like less than 1%. So that is very less,
Wow.
and even by including just like 1% or 2%, they are just mentioning their health benefits, like ashwagandha is good for that, these herbs are good for that, so even this product is good for your health. Okay, so they are taking all the advantages. Like if it is oats Maggie, so they'll tell that it has high fiber. Okay,
Right.
so high, yeah, but the content of oats is very less, that it will not have any effect on our health and everything. Right. So coming back to this example, which is a brown bread. So brown bread again, which we think which is a healthier one. Okay, we actually buy the brown bread as instead of white bread, and we actually buy the whole wheat bread, right? So with that also, it doesn't mean that it is 100% whole wheat. Okay. So with that also, it contains roughly around 32% of whole wheat, and rest of it contains maida and the sugar and the other additives and preservatives. Okay, so when you are buying the bread as well, make sure, like if you are eating like once in a week, so that is okay. Like if you are purchasing the like the whole wheat bread, which has only 32% wheat, and if you are taking just one sandwich, so that is no harm to our health. Okay, because you are taking in a very moderation, and if you are taking just once or twice in a month, so that is completely okay. But if you are someone considering that it is healthy and you are taking it as a daily as your breakfast, okay, so that is what not a good point. Okay, so if so there is a difference between taking moderation and taking it daily. Okay, so some people take biscuits like the whole wheat biscuits. They think like people consume tea like biscuits along with the tea on daily basis, and they think that they are having oats biscuit, right? But they actually are not aware of that it is not the healthier product, okay? And they are actually consuming the maida. Okay, so if your consumption is on the daily basis, so that's when you have to consider this. Okay,
Right.
so yes, next slide please. Yes. So third label says fruit flavored. Okay, so we have seen many things like the juices, like real juices. Okay, so we think that it is like highly nutritious and it is apple juice and it is this juice. Okay, so but actually it is a sugar water. Sugar water means like if you are taking water and you are mixing sugar and some kind of like uh, flavor you are adding into it, okay, and its color is getting changed and they are packaging it as a real juice. Okay, so that is again marketing gimmick. Okay, but that is actually the flavored one, and when you check its ingredients again, so the fruit concentrate will be only for 7% or 8%. And one of the famous fruit juice like the appy one, it only contains hardly roughly around 1.2 or 2% of apple concentrate. Rest of the thing is what is actually harmful. Okay, it contains sugar as a highest ingredient. Okay, so we'll see in the next slide as well okay, how much of sugar content does it have. Like in just 250 ml it contains 18 grams of sugar. Okay, so if we can see this tang example, it says orange flavor. Okay, and it says it also has vitamin C. Okay, and it also claiming that it does not contain any artificial flavor. So it is claiming three things. One is orange, rich in vitamin C, and it has no artificial flavor. Okay, then when we are checking it on the bag, okay, it so per 100 gram of tang has having 93 grams of sugar. Okay, which means 93% of its tang is sugar. Okay, but for energy we are drinking it. Okay, and how this tang is giving us energy, because if you are consuming simple carbohydrates, so that will give you energy. Okay, so carbohydrate is a source of energy. Okay, so instead of tang, if you are taking sugar water, okay, like in the water if you are mixing sugar and that you are drinking it, so even that will give you energy. Okay, because that is also carbohydrate, right? So it is same as a tang, but only the thing which is added is the artificial flavor of orange.
Right.
Okay, and even they have also added artificial sweetener called sucralose. Okay, because they will not be able to mention more than 93% of sugar, right? So this much amount of sugar they consider that it is less. So apart from the sugar, they have added artificial sweetener as well, which is sucralose. Okay, so 93% sugar is definitely there, but apart from 93% sucralose, which is artificial sweetener, that is also added into this product. Okay, so you can just consider okay, how much amount of misconception and the misleading these ads are nowadays. Okay, and ads represent to make sure that we are giving it to our kids. Okay, and when the kids are consuming this, so they will become very hyperactive. Okay, because if we are giving it too much of simple carbohydrate means sugar and maida. Okay, so if we are giving too much of tang and too much of like glucose as well, okay, so we are just giving them sugar. We are not giving them any nutrients to them. Okay, and because of that reason, when they are getting too much of sugar in their childhood, so they will become very much hyperactive. Okay, so
Hmm.
that is actually very harmful for the kids as well. So there are higher chances of getting type 2 diabetes as well, and even chances of type 1 diabetes also increases in the kids. Okay, so we should always consider this, that this tang and all the things like which is marketed as a healthy product. So if we are seeing orange on its front packaging, and orange is definitely healthy, right? It has good amount of antioxidants and it is good for our health. Okay, and they are representing something which has loads of sugar as a orange. Okay, so that is what the misleading ads are, misleading packaging are. Okay, so we have to get this awareness. Okay, please.
This actually reminds me of that famous ad we used to watch in our childhood where few kids are playing on the ground and then we see a
Mhm.
star, which is kind of like pulling out all the energy from a child's
Yeah,
head to a straw, which
exactly.
actually kind of conditioned all of our minds into thinking that maybe,
Mhm.
oh, if I get a glass full of glucon tea right after my kid plays, it'll be amazing and his glucose and energy levels will shot up. But now
Exactly.
I'm kind of decoding this with you that no, that is wrong.
Exactly, because sugar will definitely give you energy. Like even if you're eating any sweets or any dessert, okay, so you will definitely get the energy because that was the science is, right? So if you are eating simple carbohydrates, so your insulin spike will happen, which means the sugar in your blood will rise. Okay, so if the blood sugar rises, so we definitely will get the more energy. Okay, but that will be for very short period. Okay, so it rises very drastically and it falls drastically. Okay, and the side effects of it are too many. Okay, so the weight gain happens with the high sugar, type 2 diabetes happens with this high sugar. Okay, so sugar is like a culprit for our body and it is definitely not good for our health. All the disease
Oh,
mainly, so mainly disease, so if any person is like obese, okay, so after obesity all the disease come. After obesity the type 2 diabetes come because of the extra fat content in our body, right? So extra fat content increases in our body due to all these things, like the due to consumption of maida, due to consumption of very high sugar. Okay, so this is all the reason why the India is the like the capital of type 2 diabetes. Okay, in the whole world, India is the first in the type 2 diabetes. Okay, so that is a very harsh truth that they are marketing all these things to our childrens, and like this is just a harsh truth. Okay, so can we please see the next slide? Yes, so this example is a real fruit juice. Okay, so real fruit juice we'll definitely see like in the next slide as well. So that is again a claim. We think that it is real. Okay, real means original, right? Real fruit juice means we actually think that it is containing the real juice. Okay, but that is not the case. So real is a brand name. Okay, so that doesn't mean that the even product is real. Okay, so that is just a name. Okay, and one glass of mixed fruit juice contains 18.8 grams of sugar and only 12% of mixed fruit concentrate. Okay, so 18.8 grams in just one glass of juice. Okay, so that is around 4 spoons of sugar. We are just having it having just one glass of real juice. Okay, and our allowance as per RDA, we should be taking not more than just 2 to 3 spoons of sugar. Okay, so it is even more than the RDA. Okay, and when you will check its label, okay, so in the nutritional label when you will check, so that denotes in the terms of 100 ml. Okay, so 100 ml as in they will mention that it contains only 7.6 grams. Okay, but no one will consume only 100 grams, right? Even
right.
we are serving it to the guests, so the minimum quantity will be for 250 ml, right?
Correct.
So we only think that the one glass contains 7.6 grams of sugar, but that is not the case. Actually we contains 250 ml of glass, right? So 250 ml, if we'll just calculate, so that will become around 18.8 to 20 grams of sugar, which is 4 spoons of sugar. Okay, so you can just consider okay, how much of sugar we are consuming with these packet foods, right? And also the sugar, like the mixed fruit concentrate is very less. Okay, it will do no we'll not be able to receive any health nutrients as well. Like if it is mentioning that it is rich in vitamin C, it is rich in these nutrients and minerals, so that vitamins and minerals will not be able to even absorb in our body.
Right.
Okay, so it is better like to consume it through the fresh fruit and juices, right? Like you can consume apple, you can consume orange. Okay, so as we want to take the nutrition from the fruit. Okay, so the more the processed food is, so less the nutrition it will be. Okay, if it is a processed fruit, okay, so concentrate means the fruit first will be dehydrated. Okay, so when the fruits are getting dehydrated, so all the nutrition loss happens there only.
Right.
Okay, and the vitamins and minerals content that they are mentioning, okay, so the vitamin C will not be from the fruits. Okay, so they will add the extra vitamin C as a supplement.
Right.
Okay, so there are vitamin C syrups as well. Okay, so in that form they are adding the vitamin C. That vitamin C is not from the fruits itself. Okay, because when we are like vitamin C, the nutrition loss of vitamin C happens very fast. Okay, like for example, if we are cutting an orange, okay, and if we are keeping it just for 15 to 20 minutes or more than 30 minutes, okay, so with the presence of oxygen, so vitamin C loss will happen. Okay, so it is highly necessary, like when you're cutting your fruit, so make sure that you're eating within just 10 to 15 minutes. Right? So this is also with this example, like you can just consider okay, you should never consume the real fruit juices actually. Even if you are going it as a guess somewhere, so even then also it is not recommended. Yes. So the next example is the appy fizz. So apple appy fizz again, its name suggests that appy, it denotes with the apple. Okay, and also it tastes quite similar as an apple juice as well. Okay, due to its flavoring, not because it is a real, right? And also on its front packaging, the apple picture is mentioned, right? But actually if when you see its ingredients and the label, so it contains only 1.9% of apple juice concentrate. Okay, so only 2% of it contains apple and rest of it is a sugar. Okay, and you will be just amazed to see the sugar content of this particular product. So it contains 21 grams of sugar in just 160 ml. Okay, in just half glass of it, it contains 21 grams, which is more than 4 spoons of sugar. Okay, and when you will see like for the one glass, which is a 250 ml, so that will be even more than 6 spoons of sugar. Okay, and the flavor is added, like the flavoring and extra things which are added into that. Okay, due to which it tastes like apple. Okay, but that is actually the taste of sugar. Okay, and same happens like with the Coca-Cola and everything. So major portion is of the sugar. Okay, and that's what brings us all the diseases in our body.
Right.
Okay, so yes, can we shift to the next slide? Yes. Yes, so the fourth one is label says natural. Okay, so we have heard many a times that this particular food is natural and this thing is natural. Okay, so as we see it with the real juice as well. Okay, so we think that it is natural. Okay, and even many of the product mention that is natural and healthy. Okay, and this is natural and this is organic. Okay, but that is not the actual case. We should never decide about the purchase of the product with the front packaging, because front packaging is very misleading. Okay, we should always turn around and look its ingredients and look its nutritional label as well. Okay, so here instead the word is used to elect assumptions from the well-being consumer seeking products free of artificial ingredients. Okay, natural, if we are reading the word natural, we think that it does not contain any artificial ingredients. Okay, but that is not the case. It is just for the making sure that the consumer do purchase this. Okay? So yes, let's go to these examples. Okay, so yes, next slide please. Yes. So first example is for the Kisan tomato ketchup. Okay. So here the packaging mentioned the fresh tomatoes. Okay. And also it seems that, so the whole packaging is about tomatoes, okay, whole it is mentioned just tomatoes, okay, and we think that it is made with the natural tomatoes. And also its ad is just like that, it mentioned that it is like farmers are taking the tomatoes and then they are making this ketchup, okay, but that is not the case. Again, this tomato ketchup contains lots of flavoring and the additives and lots of sugar, okay, but the content of tomatoes will be very less. Okay, so this is just a best example of just misleading ad that it contains natural ingredients, okay, but the fresh tomato content is very less and the sugar content is very high. Okay, when the sugar content is high, again the nutritional things of that particular, like the tomatoes has good amount of nutrients and antioxidants like the lycopene, okay, but that nutrition will not be able to get and absorption will not be able to happen, okay, because tomatoes are highly processed, okay, and when you are processing anything and if it is made in the factory, okay, which means the nutrition loss will happen of that particular ingredient. Okay, so we do not just purchase the product considering that we are taking the fresh tomato. Okay, and just as an additional point, you can even make the like the tomato ketchup even at home. Okay, with the fresh tomatoes, there are a lot of recipes over the YouTube, like you can just go through those recipes and you can just actually prepare the tomato ketchup at your home itself. Okay, so yes,
Got it.
next slide please. Yes, so this was, I was talking about the spinach Maggi, right? So this spinach Maggi only contains 1.2% of spinach. Again, it is mentioning that it is with the natural food ingredients like the spinach. Okay, so this is the best example again. And also with the maza as we see in the ads, like it contains like the mangoes, okay, but the content and the mango pulp is only 19.5% and most of part is the sugar again, right? So yes, next slide please. Okay, so the fifth claim is zero cholesterol. Okay, so with the cholesterol, first we have to understand like what is the cholesterol and how it is made. Okay, so cholesterol is only present in the non-vegetarian foods like the eggs and chicken. Okay, so if you are eating eggs, so that will have natural cholesterol. Okay, but all the vegetarian food products, okay, like the oils and even on the cookies, we see the zero cholesterol. Okay, so the food does not contain cholesterol naturally. Okay, but just to sell their product they are mentioning the zero cholesterol so that people think that it is healthy. Okay, so if the brand is adding only, like for example, if it is a soya bean oil, okay, so soya bean oil naturally does not contain any cholesterol. Okay, but just as a marketing gimmick, just to mislead the consumer that it is healthy, they are mentioning on their front packaging that it is zero cholesterol. Even on many chips. Okay, so if you are buying chips, so many chips mention that it is zero cholesterol. Okay, so zero cholesterol is nothing. Okay, even the food product naturally does not contain any cholesterol. Okay, so just that the consumer buy their products, because of that they are mentioning this. Okay. Yes. So next slide, please. Yes. So these are the examples of that. Like the banana chips here mentioned that it contains zero cholesterol, and their cookies mentioning zero cholesterol. Okay, and this is a oil which again mentions zero cholesterol. Okay, and all these three things are vegetarian. Okay, banana chips itself does not contain any cholesterol, and even if they are adding oil, okay, even palm oil does not contain any cholesterol. Okay, so vegetarian foods naturally will not have any cholesterol. Okay. So yes, next slide, please. Okay, so this is the most important thing. Okay, so we hidden MSG in the ingredients. So MSG is also mentioned in our title as well, the sugar and MSG, right? Because that is what the most hidden things from the food packaging, right? So MSG is banned, right? So because of that reason, so companies are including that in a hidden form, like they are including MSG in the form of hydrolyzed vegetable protein extracts, flavoring, and seasoning. Okay, so seasoning and flavoring means they are adding some herbs and everything. Okay, so if they are adding a little bit of MSG into that, so no one will able to realize. Okay, and in their ingredients as well. So this is the only thing which we'll not be able to realize in the ingredients as well. Okay, if we are checking its ingredients, so it will be hidden somewhere, and some brands are also mentioning MSG in the code. Okay, so they will just mention the MSG code. Okay, and then we'll not be able to search every code, right? Because there are lots of in the processed food, when you see its ingredients, so there are lots of codes there. Okay, we'll not be able to search every single thing. Okay, but one thing which you can just make sure of, so most of the MSG is there in the, like, most of the noodles. Okay, noodles like Yippee, Maggi, and Maggi masala also contains MSG. Okay, and also there are other Chinese foods like the soya sauces, okay, and the soups. Okay, nor soups, like people drink soups considering that it is healthy. Okay, so soup, they consume the nor soup, okay, because of their taste. Okay, but that actually contains MSG. Okay,
Okay.
and MSG is very much harmful for your neurological health again. Okay, neurological health means, it means your brain health. Okay, and it is very like tempting, and MSG is such an ingredient which will lead to overeating. Okay, it suppress our satiety hormone. Okay, so which means we'll not be able to get the signal that we are full. Okay, so you might have seen some chips like the Doritos is one brand which uses MSG. Okay, so if it is MSG is added, so consumer will not realize when they have to stop, right? And because of that reason, they will tend to overconsume that. Okay, like just in the case of Maggi. Okay, so we generally overconsume the Maggi. Okay, so because it contains MSG and it suppresses our satiety hormone, and we are not realizing when we are full. Okay, so because of that reason, MSG is very harmful. Okay,
Okay.
yes, next slide, please. Yes, so these are the examples where there's a hidden MSG, like in the Yippee noodles and the Nor soups, and also like this is a sauce, like the DBT sauce and the Chinese sauce. Okay, all the Chinese sauces, like the soya sauce as well. Okay, so that definitely contains MSG. Even if you're not able to see in the ingredient list, but somewhere is there in the seasoning or flavoring. Okay, yes, next slide, please. Yeah. So seventh thing is like misleading names of the product. Okay, misleading names, as in I just gave the example of real juice. Okay, real juice means doesn't mean that it contains the real juice. Okay, so like for example, in the Amul Paneer, okay, they mention Amul Paneer fresh. Okay, and they have a trademark of that name. Okay, which means they have done the trademark on that, and they can use that as a name on their packaging. Okay, so this is just a name that does not denotes its actual quality. Okay, fresh paneer, which does that doesn't mean that it is actually fresh. Okay, and so as per law, like, a company can name itself almost anything. Okay, so as in the same example of like fruity. Okay, fruity does not means that it contains fruit, and maza it denotes like mangoes. Okay, and it also mentioned the word mangoes. Okay, but that doesn't mean it contains mangoes. Okay, and so they just mention real, fresh, healthy, and they just buy the product. Okay, so we can just see the examples in the next slide. Yes, so these are the example like the Amul fresh paneer, and this is a oil which names itself like doctor's choice. Okay, doctor's choice, we think that it is recommended by the doctor. Okay, but that is not actually the case. This is only the name of the product, right? And as I told, that company can name itself almost anything. Okay, and it's Kisan fresh tomatoes. Okay? Fresh tomatoes, it is mentioned on the packaging, so that doesn't mean it actually contains fresh tomatoes. Okay, and the real juice again, which we think which is real.
This is actually again very interesting because Kisan also makes its ads in a way where they show this animated whole video where there's a rabbit, there are animals, wild animals, and they're
Yes,
plucking tomatoes right from the trees and then they're just putting it in the packet of Kisan, which is now so not true and so misleading.
exactly, but they will not show in the ad like how much of sugar they are adding. Okay,
Right.
and tomato ketchup is generally consumed by the kids. with the sandwiches and everything. Okay, even they eat the healthy things like the dosas and idlis. Okay,
Yeah.
which we should be eating with the green chutney. Okay, so our authentic Indian food is very healthy. Like the green chutney, it has good amount of vitamin C and all the nutrients which is which like the packet food mentions, right? So that nutrition we are getting it from the food itself. Okay, but we don't have to eat our authentic food, and we have to take the packet food.
Well, I'm sure after this session, a lot of people will skip on the packaged food and switch to more authentic food because I will totally.
Exactly. Yes. So can we take the next slide? Yes. So this was just examples like how the brands mislead us, okay, and what are the tactics and what are the ways they use just to make sure they are getting more sales, okay. Now the point comes how to read food labels without being tricked, okay. So there is a methods as well so that we are getting aware. So if we are seeing any healthy product and that is actually healthy, okay, so we should be aware that it is actually, and we can definitely purchase that. Okay, so we'll just learn about that. Okay, so how to do that and what is the points that we should be considering. Okay, yes, the next slide please. Okay, so firstly, as I told like this in the start as well, don't fall for the attractive packaging and fancy words. Okay, like the gluten free, MSG free, and the fresh. Okay, so instead of if the product is mentioning on their front packaging that it is free of MSG, okay, so that will use the alternative of MSG. Okay, so as we see that there are many much alternatives of the sugar. Okay, so there are nearly 56 kinds of artificial sweeteners. Okay, for the sugar. Okay, and in the same way there are some alternatives. Okay, so if it is a low carb and it is 100% natural, okay, so we just have to see the labels as well. Okay, and we don't have to see only the front packaging. Okay,
Right.
yes, next slide please. Yes. So consider the first three ingredients mentioned on the list. Okay. So first three things means that particular ingredients contain maximum in that particular product. Okay. So if it is had whole grain rolled oats, okay, brown sugar or whole grain wheat, okay, which means these three things are maximum added in that particular product. Okay. While on the other side, if the first three ingredient mentioned that it contains sugar, it contains refined flour, it contains like palmolin, okay, which means it is not healthy. Okay, so we have to just see like with the ingredients as well. Even if you are not able to read the whole ingredients, you can just go through with the first 3 to 4 ingredients, and with that only you can just decide it is good or not. Okay, yes, so next slide please. Yes. So with more than 5 ingredients is it's a processed food. Okay. So there are certain ingredients like the chips. Okay. So if you look at the Balaji chips or the Doritos, okay, so you'll find a huge list of ingredients. Okay. So if you don't have time to see a particular ingredient, so if the product is containing a very huge list of ingredients, which means it is highly processed. Okay. Highly refined, okay, and lots of ingredients and the additives and preservatives are added. Okay, so which means it is highly processed and definitely it is not a good choice. Okay? Yes, so it is a simple tactic which you can use like if you don't have time to read all the ingredients, right? So yes, check out for hidden sugar. Okay, so these are nearly 56 names of sugar. Okay,
Wow.
so if I can just name a few of them, like a brown sugar and a maltitol, there is high fructose corn syrup, okay, and barley malt, okay, fructose, maltitol, okay. So these are just the names of sugar. Okay, so if the product is containing, let's say, high fructose corn syrup, okay, so word corn, it denotes like we think that it is corn, that it is healthy, okay, but it is most dangerous, okay, it is even bad than the sugar. Okay, so we just definitely if you are purchasing any products, if you see that it is containing fructose, Or even some brands like the real juice even mention that the fruit sugar. Okay, so we think that it is natural sugar, but that is actually not the case. Okay,
Okay.
that is the carbohydrates extracted from the fruits, and that is again the simple carbohydrates which is not good for our health.
So, Dr. Kiran, when we consume fruits naturally, let's say if we are consuming an apple or a mango naturally, you in the earlier slides mentioned that we get this fructose, which is natural from. So, the fructose that is mentioned mostly in the food packaging is not actually fructose but carbohydrates.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So fructose, which you are getting it from the fruits, okay, so that you are getting along with the fiber content, okay. Like for example, if we are getting fructose like from the apple, okay, so you are getting high amount of fiber along with that, okay. So when you are eating any like thing which has good amount of fiber, okay,
Hmm.
so your insulin spike will not be very high, okay.
Right.
So in the same way, we do not recommend as a fruit juice, okay. For example, apple juice is not recommended, okay, but the whole apple is recommended, okay, because apple juice will not contain fiber, okay, it will contain only sugar, okay, which is the natural sugar fructose, okay.
Right.
So fruit sugar is beneficial only when it is eaten along with the fiber, okay. When the fiber is removed from that sugar, so even that sugar will not be helpful for our body, okay. So high fructose corn syrup is highly processed sugar alternative, okay, which means it is processed multiple times, even more than the sugar, okay. And then when syrup is made, and that is used in most of the processed food, okay.
Hmm.
When anything is processed too much, okay, so that's when the nutrition loss also happen, and also it instantly spikes up our insulin as well, okay. So the processed sugar is actually not healthy, okay. And all these example of this artificial sweeteners are highly processed,
Okay.
okay. Yes. And so these are the names of the hidden sugar, and this picture you can get it from the Google as well, okay. You can just keep it safe in your gallery. Okay, so yes, so read nutritional label, okay, because it clearly depicts in detail total calories, okay. So total calories, again, it is very much important. Like some brands do also this gimmick that they mention, like for example, if it is a packaged chips, okay, and they will mention just 30 grams, okay. The nutrition label will that label will only for 30 grams, okay, but the actual size of that particular product will be for 100 grams, okay.
Hmm.
And we are actually seeing the calories of the 30 grams, okay. 30 grams means only few chips,
Right.
okay. So because of that reason, in the nutritional facts we have to see the quantity as
Hmm.
well, okay.
Hmm.
Quantity like as in ml as well, and also in the grams as well, okay. If it is a very minimum gram, so we have to compare it with the quantity of that particular product, okay.
Hmm.
So if it is like a chips, okay, so the package mention 100 grams of chips, okay, and if the nutrition facts mention the quantity of 30 grams, okay, we should get an idea that it is the nutrition facts is only about the 30 grams, okay. And we can just see okay, how much calories it does contain, okay. So high calorie food is definitely not good for our health, right? So one big packet of the chips, okay, it contains calories equal to our lunch meal, okay, and we just eat it as a snack,
Hmm.
okay. So because of that thing, we have to just keep a check on the calories as well, and the saturated fat content as well. If the food product has high amount of saturated fat is not good for our heart health, okay. And the palm oil contains more of the saturated fat, okay. So
Right.
because of that, then I just mentioned that palm oil is not good for our health, right? So saturated fat content also we need to check, and trans fat is even bad, okay. So that will increase the like the LDL cholesterol, okay. So LDL is the bad cholesterol, okay. So
Okay.
this trans fat, so any product which you are buying, so make sure that it has zero trans fat,
Hmm.
okay. And
Dr.
added sodium and sugar levels will also be mentioned.
Hmm.
Yes, yes, tell me.
So there's a lot of brands coming up with a lot of new kind of products in market. So I recently came across this new brand called Tags, which are now selling air pop chips. Then there's another brand which sells vacuum fried chips. So are these really healthy, or are they really trying to
Mhm.
revolutionize the way we are trying to eat and get us to a healthy lifestyle, or these are also marketing gimmicks for us?
Huh. So like the healthier brands like the tags, okay? So tags definitely, like it says that it is air fried, okay? But we have to check its fat content as well as the calorie content as well, okay? And its ingredient list as well, okay? If it has had a huge list of ingredients, then again it's not good, okay? Because too much of additives and preservatives, again it's not good, okay? So any packet food if you are taking, okay? So you can just take it like a once in a week or maybe just once in 2 weeks, okay? So for that you can choose like some healthier options, okay? So eggs will be a kind of healthier option, okay?
Right,
I cannot say that that will be like 100% healthy, but that
right,
is comparatively better than the lays and kurkure,
right.
okay? So when you have the cravings of eating chips, so you can consider those healthier options.
Hmm. Awesome.
Okay, and for that particular, just to analyze, should we eat or not? So for that, like I'll need to check it, like its ingredients and its nutritional facts. Okay, so that we can just get a confirmation, is it actually healthy or not?
Got
Okay, and so the last thing is again the serving size. Okay, so as I told about the ml. Okay, so if it is 100 ml, so 100 ml is very small quantity. Okay, so this 100 ml contains added sugar of 7.4 grams. Okay, and when you will do the calculation of 250 ml, so that will somewhere around 18 to 19 grams.
it.
Okay, so 18 to 19 grams, again it contains like 4 spoons of sugar. Okay, so
Yeah.
because of that reason, we should always check the serving size. Okay, it contains per 100 ml. Okay, but
Right.
if it is any chips or biscuits, so it will mention like maybe 30 grams or maybe like one piece. Okay, and so that's how we'll be able to know, okay, how much added sugar is there. Okay,
Hmm.
how much fat is there, how much sodium is there. Okay, most
Right.
of the chips brand also has more amount of sodium just to make it more tastier. Okay,
Huh.
but high sodium is actually not good for our like the blood pressure. So if anyone is high blood pressure, so that is what that particular product is not good for that particular patient.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Um,
because of that all these details are mentioned.
I do have another very interesting question. So, I love chips. So, since my childhood, I think my parents have always, to keep my mouth shut, have always bribed me with a packet of chips. So, I just wanted to understand from you. So, we get all these chips and a lot of flavors that comes in chips, and I'm sure they're launching new flavors almost every day, which is also a part of marketing. So let's say we have this kurkure, the most common orange kurkure masala munch, which has a
Mhm.
load of seasoning. It's spicy. It is savory at the same time. It is salty. So are these also like cumulatively high in, like denote high in sodium, or what are these spices then exactly?
So definitely just to make it more tasty, and generally this kurkure and everything also contains the hidden MSG. Okay, and
Hmm.
because of that reason we don't have actually the control, okay, on ourselves, like when we do have to stop. Okay, so if you are considering for the rotis, okay, so
Hmm.
rotis contains high amount of fiber and we feel the satiety. Okay, and because of that reason after eating 2 to 3 rotis we just stop. Okay, because the fiber content makes us realize that we have to stop somewhere. Okay, but
Right.
when you talk about this kurkure, so kurkure again, like it contains maida, it contains preservatives, additives. Okay, so
Hmm.
in our homes we don't even eat the roti of like the next day we don't eat the like the roti of previous day, right? But with
Right.
the packet food, it has packaging of 6 months, and
Hmm.
even nowadays there are some packets which says packaging like it is best before like 12 months. Okay, so
Right.
we are eating a particular foods which is like 12 months old or 6 months old. Okay, so
Hmm.
you can just imagine like what kind of preservatives have been used just to preserve that. Okay, and
Right.
sodium is also a kind of natural preservative. Okay,
Hmm.
so which means all the packet food will have high amount of sodium.
Okay.
Okay, so yes, definitely you can just consider like eating one like once in 10 days. Okay, but not on the regular basis.
Okay. I will try my best to cut it down.
Definitely. Okay, so can we go to the next slide? So yeah, I think that's what all about the highly informative session, right? And hope you had cleared and you are just aware. And next time when you are going to the supermarket, you are just remember my voice, like what I was saying, and you can just stop buying all these products and shift to the healthier products. Okay, so shifting to the healthier products, and once you start doing that, you will also notice that are much tastier. Okay, that doesn't mean you have to stop eating, you have to stop enjoying the life. Okay, so that only means that you have to show the, just a shift. Okay, which is known as a healthier shift. Okay,
Right.
and so yeah, that's all. Like, thank you. Okay, so now I think we'll go with the Q&A session,
Yes.
right?
So we have successfully come to the end slide with a truckload of information and insights, of course. Guys, whatever questions you have, whatever you would like to know about anything, any kind of label, any kind of product, you can put your questions in the chat box, and we would host 15 minutes of Q&A session with Dr. Kiran, and she can answer all your questions here. Till we get any questions, Dr. Kiran, why don't you tell me like a little secret about yourself? What is this one packaged food that you really love?
Which food packet?
Dr. Kiran? Guys, I'm really sorry. I think there is some network issue from Dr. Kiran's end. Why not actually just start typing your questions in the chat box, and as soon as she's back, we can just hit it and start answering some of your questions.
Yes, am I audible now?
Yes, perfect.
Yes. So, yes. So, answering to your question, like, what is my most favorite packet food? Okay. So, there is one brand called NutriBud, and they have a like ragi powder, like this. They have a sprouted ragi powder, and it tastes like a chocolate powder. Okay, and they have cacao added. Okay, so cacao. Remember, I told like in the beginning, that cacao is what the actually one. Okay, so there are two kinds of thing. One is cacao and one is cocoa. Okay, so we should always choose with the cacao. Okay, because that is natural, like, and organic. Okay, so that contains like the cacao and the sprouted ragi and peanuts. Okay, so that is what the like I add into my milk and I drink it. Okay, so instead of bonvita, like so which has high amount of sugar. Okay, so
Right.
instead of bonvita, I choose this healthier option. So that is what my most favorite product.
Okay. So that was also very healthy. Quite interesting. Guys, if you guys have any question, now is the right time. You can put it on the chat box, and Dr. Kiran can address all your questions. Anything about your favorite packaged food, how much you can consume, how much you cannot, and if there's anything you should look out for, or any information about any additives that you really would want to know, which we would have missed by now. Arpita asks what to consider in the replacement of sugar.
Yeah. So instead of sugar, like firstly, you can use the dates powder. Okay. Dates powder is made from the dry dates. So you just have to grind the dry dates, and that you can use it as a replacement of sugar. Okay. And secondly, if you are making any sweets, okay, so like you can use the dates, okay, or if you want to like make the energy bites, or if you are hungry at the evening time, okay, so for that you can prepare the energy bites. And all you have to do is, and when you are getting the cravings of like sweet as well, okay, so for that, like you can just grind the dates along with some roasted seeds and nuts, okay, and you can just make a small balls out of it, and that you can have it, okay. So dates is definitely one thing, and again the dates powder is a good point. And thirdly, like if you are craving for some sweet, okay, so you can have just apple with peanut butter, okay, and top of it you can like add some berries and some roasted seeds, okay. So that is a great snack, like if you are craving for sweet, okay. And thirdly, like if you want to add it like in your tea or coffee, okay, so you can either add the dates powder, or you can add the jaggery powder as well, okay. But the refined sugar is a big no no, because that is highly processed, okay. But you can use like in a limited proportion, so I'll not say like to eat maybe 4 to 5 spoons of jaggery powder in a day, okay, but you can just limit to like 1 to 2 teaspoons of jaggery powder, okay. But at the end of the day, that is also the sweet, okay, but that is not the empty calories. It does contain certain nutrients, okay. So definitely you can consider jaggery powder as a replacement of sugar.
I hope, Arpita, that answered your question. So we have another question from Shreyas, and they want to know how effective is stevia as a sugar replacement.
Hmm. So stevia is again an artificial sweetener, okay? And artificial like so stevia. What is stevia? So it is a like meathi tulsi, okay? So meathi tulsi. So you can also purchase a plant of stevia, okay? Like that is called the stevia like plant, okay? So you can just purchase that also from any from any like the garden or where it is available, okay. And you can just add its leaves as well, okay, or even dried stevia is also available, okay. So you can add just 1 to 2 leaves as well into your tea to make it sweeter, okay. So that stevia which is natural, so that definitely you can use it, okay. But the packet stevia, it is not recommend, because again it is highly processed, okay. So stevia, if you are considering the natural stevia, so that you can use it, okay. And you can just purchase a plant of that as well, okay. And you can just use 1 to 2 leaves in a day, okay. But if you are consuming the packet stevia, so packet stevia again is a very processed food product, okay. So that is not recommended on the daily for the daily consumption.
I hope, Shreyas, you've got your answer. Okay, so we have another question from Bharat. Peanut chicky contains sugar. Is this good in iron, or does it increases sugar?
Okay, so for the peanut chicky, if you are considering for the packet chicky, so definitely that contains that does not contain 100% of jaggery. It also contains the sugar. Okay, so one of my relative went to this peanut chicky factory, and they just realized that they are adding 60% of sugar and only 20 to 30% of jaggery. Okay, so that is what the reality of peanut chicky is. Okay, and so if you are considering for the homemade chicky, okay, so homemade chicky is made with the jaggery. And why they are claiming that it is rich in iron and other nutrients, because jaggery has it does contain iron, okay. So if you are making that chicky at home, so definitely it is rich in iron. And if you are making with the jaggery and the peanuts, okay, it is a whole jaggery. And if you are purchasing jaggery as well, make sure that you are choosing the darker one, okay, because lighter one again it has some like additives as well, okay, of the sugar, okay. So make sure that you are choosing the darker jaggery, okay. So that is what the organic one is, okay. So if you are making that peanut chicky at home, so that is definitely you can prefer, okay. As I gave the example of the like dates laddu, so as a replacement, like when you are craving for sweet, so definitely you can eat the homemade peanut chicky, but not the outside one.
I hope, Bharat, now you're gonna start making some chickies at home. All the best for the chicky session. We have another question from Ashish. The question is, what should we include in our meal for preventing hair fall?
Okay, so for the hair fall, your balanced meal is highly essential. Okay, so balanced meal, your meal should have good amount of protein first of all. Okay, so when your meal does not contain protein, so that's when like your hair starts to fall. Okay, so generally in India we only eat roti and sabji. Okay, roti has a complex carbohydrate and sabji has vitamins and minerals. Okay, but one of the major macronutrient which is lacking is the protein. Okay, when your meal does not have good amount of protein, like in the form of like curd or paneer or lentil or pulses, okay, or if you are non-vegetarian, you can include eggs as well, right? So if your meal does not contain any of these, so which means you are deficient in the protein, okay. And when we are not eating good amount of protein, that's when our hair follicles will become weaker and it starts to fall, okay, because our hair follicles are made with the keratin protein. Okay, so it needs good amount of protein so that it can regenerate and the hair growth can happen. Okay, so first of all, this and also other vitamins and minerals are essential, like the zinc, biotin, magnesium. Okay, so that you can get it like from the like fruits and nuts and seeds. Okay, so all throughout the day, you have to just make sure you are taking good amount of protein as per your body's requirement. Okay, and also you are taking at least 2 servings of fruits as well, and one handful servings of nuts and seeds.
Insightful. I hope, Ashish, you've found the solution to your hair fall. Guys, if you have any more questions, we are still open for Q&A for another 5 minutes. You can put in your questions here. Dr. Kiran, till we get more questions, I have this question in my mind since a very long time. So, a lot of brands have started using these very fancy names for salt. We have pink Himalayan salt, we have sea salt. So, what is the hidden secret behind all of these fancy names, and are they really different or are they really healthier?
Huh. So yes, definitely it is healthier. Like you can consider choosing like pink Himalayan salt because that contains high amount of potassium, okay, and less sodium. Okay, so
Right.
sodium is actually not good for the like high blood pressure patients, okay. And in the daily consumption also you can just consider using 50% of pink Himalayan salt and pink 50% of iodized salt, okay,
Okay.
because this pink salt and the rock salt has good amount of like micro minerals,
Hmm.
okay, because that is like that we can get it. So rock salt is like from the mountains, and pink Himalayan salt is like from the seas, okay. So
Right.
these contains good amount of like micro minerals, okay, and it has high amount of potassium as well. So potassium is actually good for our health, okay.
Okay.
And so just to limit your sodium intake, okay, just to make sure that you are getting good amount of micro minerals as well, okay, so you can consider using 50% of like in the daily consumption as well. Like you can in the container which you are keeping, so 50% you can keep for the pink Himalayan, and you pink 50% of this iodized salt, okay, and you can just mix it together, and whenever you are adding to your recipe, so you can use that salt.
Okay. That was very insightful. Thank you for answering my question. So I don't see any more questions in the chat box. Okay. So one last call. Any other question? One last question. Anyone? Okay. Dr. Kiran, I don't think anybody has any more questions anymore. I think the session is so insightful that everyone is really considering their packaged food lifestyle patterns right now, and so am I. But a huge thanks for this great session. I think we all are taking back a lot of information and a lot of new things, which is really necessary in today's age because a lot of our lifestyles are accustomed in a way that we end up relying on packaged foods more than how we used to eat home cooked meals in our childhood. The warm home cooked dal, rice, roti. I think that has taken a backstage, and packaged foods have taken a front stage in our life. But nonetheless, it was very important for all of us to know that the sad reality of packaged food is this and not what we expect. So thank you for opening our eye today. And
Yes.
for everyone of our attendees over here, to give you a little bit about OnSurety, we are a healthcare company and we offer a wide range of wellness products and services. So, in case if you're looking out for, if you want to jumpstart to a healthier lifestyle and if you want to know where you can start, you can always check out our website. You can always go to our app. We have a ton of wellness services. We have dietary planners. We have fitness trackers. We have mental health supports. So you can always log on to Insurity. You can always reach out to us. And if at all you guys missed asking any questions which you wanted to ask from Dr. Kiran, you can just send us a message and we will get the answers to you.
Sure, definitely. Thank you for giving me a chance to be a speaker here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kiran. Again, it was a lovely session, and I would like to see you again.
Sure, sure, definitely. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. And let's cook some good food instead of opening that Maggie packet and bread packet, okay? For dinner.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Kiran.
Yes. Bye. Take care.